Hello everyone and welcome back to another video from our channel KHA News. In this video, we'll take a gentle look at the American stars we've recently lost, along with other beloved figures from around the world who have touched our hearts. Before we begin, we'd truly appreciate it if you could show your support by giving this video a like. It helps us continue sharing these heartfelt stories. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin.
1.
Joey Browner, a six-time Pro Bowl selection safety for the Minnesota Vikings in the 1980s and 90s, died March 28, 2026 at the age of 65. Born May 15, 1960, Browner attended Western Reserve High School in Warren, Ohio, and Southwest High School in Atlanta. In addition to high school football, he played basketball and ran track. He went on to the University of Southern California, where he was the football team's 1982 MVP. His strong college career led to a first-round pick by the Vikings in the 1983 NFL Draft. Browner played for the Vikings for 9 of his 10 NFL seasons, earning spots on the franchise's 40th anniversary team in 2000 and 50 Greatest Vikings list in 2010. He was selected to 6 consecutive Pro Bowls in 1985 through 1990, and he was a 4-time pick of broadcasting great John Madden, 1936 to 2021, for his All-Madden team. Though he played a season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1992 before his career's end, Browner is widely associated with the Vikings. In 2013, he was inducted into the team's Ring of Honor. He was nominated for the Pro Football Hall of Fame multiple times. Browner was one of 4 brothers to play in the NFL. His brothers Ross, Jim, and Keith Browner all made it to the league, as did his nephews Max Starks and Keith Browner Jr.
2.
Mary Beth Hurt, a 3-time Tony Award-nominated actress known for her performances in such films as The World According to Garp and Interiors, died March 28, 2026 at an assisted living facility in Jersey City, New Jersey. She died after living with Alzheimer's disease at the age of 79. Over a career spanning nearly 4 decades, Hurt became one of the most respected character actresses of her generation, a touchstone for directors and writers who needed an actress capable of making complexity feel utterly natural. Her work set a standard for intelligent, understated acting that influenced a generation of stage and screen performers. Born Mary Beth Supinger on March 26, 1946 in Marshalltown, Iowa, Hurt studied acting at the University of Iowa and as a graduate student at New York City's University's Tisch School of the Arts. Her career began on the New York City stage, and she ultimately made it to Broadway many times, debuting there in 1974 in Love for Love. She received Tony Award nominations for Trelawney of the Wells, Crimes of the Heart, and Benefactors. She originated the role of Meg in Crimes of the Heart when it debuted off-Broadway, and she won an Obie Award for her performance. Hurt made her on-screen debut in 1974 with the TV movie Anne in Blue. A few years later, she had a breakthrough performance with her movie debut in the Woody Allen film Interiors, starring alongside Diane Keaton, 1946 to 2025, and Kristen Griffith as sisters in a family drama. Another notable film came in 1982 when she starred as Helen, wife of Robin Williams' title character in The World According to Garp. Hurt's many other movies included Compromising Positions, The Age of Innocence, 6 Degrees of Separation, and Autumn in New York. On TV, she had a starring role in the short-lived 1990 sitcom Working It Out, and her guest appearances included Kojak, 30-something, and Law & Order.
3.
Ross Friedman, the legendary guitarist known as Ross the Boss, passed away on March 26, 2026 after battling ALS. Born in the Bronx, New York, Friedman became a pioneering force in rock music, helping shape both punk and heavy metal. He first rose to prominence as a founding member of The Dictators, one of the earliest bands in New York's punk scene. Though initially under-recognized, the group later gained cult status as pioneers of the genre. Friedman's impact grew even larger when he co-founded Manowar in 1980. Known for their powerful sound and fantasy-driven themes, the band became a global force in heavy metal. Albums like Battle Hymns and Kings of Metal helped define the genre, while their epic live performances earned them a place in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest heavy metal concert. Even after leaving Manowar at the height of their success, Friedman continued creating music, collaborating with numerous bands and pursuing solo projects. His dedication to music never wavered, and his influence reached generations of rock and metal artists. In 2017, he was inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame, recognizing his role in shaping speed metal and the broader heavy music landscape. Ross "The Boss" Friedman is remembered as a trailblazer whose guitar work and passion helped define two powerful movements in rock history.
4.
DJ Dan, a pioneering force in the West Coast rave and electronic music scene, passed away in March 2026 at 57. Born Daniel Warrett in Washington, he moved to California in the early 1990s, where his mixtapes and high-energy live sets quickly made him a central figure in the emerging rave culture. At a time when underground parties and independent releases defined the scene, DJ Dan helped shape both its sound and its spirit. He built his reputation through collaborations and eventually founded In Stereo Recordings in 2001, further cementing his influence in house music. Tracks like That Zipper Track and That Phone Track became major hits, with the latter reaching #1 on the Billboard dance charts. Throughout his career, DJ Dan was consistently recognized among the world's top DJs, even being named the top house DJ globally in 2006. He performed at major festivals and helped build communities like the Funky Techno Tribe, while also creating remixes for major artists, including Depeche Mode, Lady Gaga, and A Tribe of Quest. Beyond music, he was remembered for his passion for life, whether through travel, food, or collecting records, and for his belief that music could heal and connect people. DJ Dan leaves behind not just a catalog of music, but a lasting cultural legacy that helped define electronic music for generations.
5.
Alex Duong, a stand-up comedian and actor known for his role on Blue Bloods, passed away on March 28, 2026 at 42. Born in Dallas, Texas, Duong initially pursued a career in screenwriting before discovering his passion for stand-up comedy. Drawing from his Vietnamese-American upbringing, he developed a bold and relatable comedic style that resonated with audiences across the United States. He performed at iconic venues like the Comedy Store, where he worked his way up from a door guy to a regular performer, becoming part of its well-known roast battle scene. Alongside his stand-up career, Duong built a steady presence in television. He was best known for portraying Sonny Lay on Blue Bloods from 2021 to 2024, and also appeared in shows like Everybody Hates Chris and Pretty Little Liars. In 2025, Duong publicly shared his battle with alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma, a rare and aggressive cancer. Despite his fight, he remained connected with fans and supported by friends and family throughout his journey. Alex Duong is remembered for his humor, resilience, and dedication to his craft, leaving behind a legacy of laughter and inspiration. Oprah Winfrey, born on January 29, 1954 in the small town of Kosciuszko, her arrival into this world was marked by poverty and uncertainty. Her mother, Bernita Lee, was just an unwed teenage girl when she gave birth, and her father, Vernon Winfrey, was serving in the armed forces, unaware that he had become a parent. The name on her birth certificate read Orpah, after the biblical figure from the Book of Ruth. But people struggled with the pronunciation, and soon everyone was calling her Oprah. That mispronunciation would stick for life, becoming one of the most recognizable names in American history. Her earliest years were spent in extreme poverty, with her maternal grandmother, Hattie Mae Lee, on a farm that lacked even basic amenities like running water. Life was primitive and harsh. Young Oprah had to fetch water from the well each day, carrying heavy buckets up to the house, and she performed countless other difficult chores that would have broken the spirit of many children. Yet, her grandmother saw something extraordinary in this little girl. By the time Oprah was just 2.5 years old, Hattie Mae had taught her to read, an astonishing achievement for such a young child. At age 3, Oprah was already standing before church congregations, reciting poems and Bible verses with a confidence that amazed the adults around her. The church community cherished her as a gifted child, and these early performances planted the seeds of the public speaking career that would define her life. Despite the hardships of farm life, there was love and structure in those early years with her grandmother. Hattie Mae provided the kind of nurturing foundation that would prove crucial to Oprah's development. She learned discipline, faith, and the power of words during this formative period. The church became her first stage, and the congregation her first audience. Every Sunday, they would announce that little Mistress Winfrey would render a recitation, and she would deliver with the poise of someone far beyond her years. These experiences taught her that her voice mattered, that people would listen when she spoke. Everything changed when Oprah turned 6. Her mother had moved north to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, searching for work and a better life. When Vernita finally sent for her daughter, Oprah's world was turned upside down. She walked into that space in Milwaukee feeling completely alone and abandoned. Her mother was virtually a stranger to her, and the transition was traumatic. That first night, because of a roommate her mother was living with, young Oprah was made to sleep outside on the porch. She remembers kneeling in prayer that night, not shedding tears because she knew that God was her father and Jesus was her brother, and they were with her. This moment of profound loneliness would shape her understanding of isolation and resilience. Life in inner-city Milwaukee was a stark contrast to the farm. Vernita worked long hours as a housemaid, leaving little time to supervise or nurture her daughter. In those long days alone in their apartment, something terrible began happening. From the ages of 9 through 13, Oprah was repeatedly molested by male relatives and another visitor to the home. The abuse was devastating, a violation that would haunt her for years. She tried to run away, desperate to escape the nightmare her life had become. But when she was sent to a juvenile detention home, all the beds were filled. There was nowhere for her to go. The abuse continued, leaving deep psychological scars on a girl who was already struggling to find her place in the world. By age 14, the consequences of this trauma became impossible to hide. Oprah became pregnant, the result of what she would later describe as bad choices made by someone who had no boundaries, someone who had been sexually abused for years. She was terrified of what her father would do if he found out. The fear was so overwhelming that she admitted to thinking she would have to kill herself rather than face his disappointment. But fate intervened in an unexpected way. Her mother, unable to cope with Oprah's rebellious behavior, sent her back to Nashville to live with Vernon Winfrey. Oprah gave birth to a premature baby boy who died shortly after birth. Years later, she would describe this tragedy as her second chance at life. Nobody at her new school in Nashville knew about the pregnancy or the loss. She was able to start fresh, to reinvent herself. And it was in Nashville, under the strict guidance of her father, Vernon, a barber and businessman, that Oprah's life truly began to transform. Vernon Winfrey was exactly what she needed at that crucial moment. He was demanding and structured, requiring his daughter to complete weekly book reports and learn 5 new vocabulary words every day. She went without dinner until those words were mastered. He simply knew what he wanted and expected from his daughter, and he would take nothing less. This discipline saved her life. Vernon provided the guidance, rules, and boundaries that had been missing. He saw her potential and refused to let it be wasted. Under his roof, Oprah flourished academically. She became an honor student, joined a debate club, participated in drama, and served on student council. Her natural gift for public speaking, first nurtured in her grandmother's church, found new outlets. By her teens, she was touring churches in Nashville reciting the sermons of James Weldon Johnson. While other children sang, Oprah talked, and audiences were mesmerized. At age 17, Oprah's life took a turn that would set her on the path to stardom. In the summer of 1971, Oprah won the Miss Fire Prevention Contest, sponsored by the local radio station WNVOI in Nashville. When she went back to claim her prize, a Longines watch and a digital clock radio, the disc jockey asked if she had ever heard her voice on tape. He handed her some wire copy to read, and what she heard changed everything. She left the station that day with something far more valuable than any prize: her first job in broadcasting. At just 17 years old, she was working in radio while still attending high school. This early start in media was extraordinary for anyone, let alone a young black woman in the early 1970s. By the time Oprah was 19 and studying communications at Tennessee State University, Oprah had already made history by becoming the first African-American woman to anchor the news at WLACTE in Nashville. Her natural warmth and ability to connect with people set her apart from traditional news anchors. She didn't just read the news, she made viewers feel like she was talking to them directly, sharing information as a friend rather than delivering it as a distant authority figure. In January 1984, opportunity came calling from Baltimore, Maryland. Oprah moved to co-anchor WBAZ's Eyewitness News, but the traditional news format didn't quite suit her personality. The station eventually moved her to a talk show called People Are Talking. The very first day on the job, Oprah knew she had found her calling. She described it as being like breathing, something so natural and effortless that it felt like coming home. Her warmth, her genuine interest in people, and her ability to make guests feel comfortable created magic on screen. The show became incredibly popular, and Oprah spent 8 successful years there, honing her skills that would soon make her a household name. The turning point came in January 1984, when Oprah moved to Chicago to host a struggling morning show called AM Chicago. The program was dead last in the ratings, competing against the mighty Phil Donahue show, which dominated the time slot. But Oprah's open, warm-hearted, personal style worked wonders. Within just 1 month, AM Chicago was even with Donahue. 3 months later, it had surged ahead to first place. The transformation was stunning. Within several months, Oprah had won 100,000 more viewers than Donahue. In September 1985, The Oprah Winfrey Show was renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show and expanded to 1 hour. Donahue, facing this unstoppable competitor, moved his show to New York City. On September 8, 1986, The Oprah Winfrey Show went into national syndication, making Oprah the first Black female host of a nationally syndicated daily talk show. The program aired on 120 channels with an audience of 10 million people. By the end of its first year, the show had grossed $125 million, of which Oprah received $30 million. She was just 32 years old and already one of the wealthiest women in entertainment. The show would run for 25 remarkable years, becoming the highest-rated television talk show in American history, finally ending on May 24, 2011. What made the Oprah Winfrey Show revolutionary was how it evolved over its long run. It started as a typical tabloid-style talk show of its era, but Oprah gradually transformed it into something much more meaningful. She created a more intimate, confessional form of media communication that changed television forever. By the mid-1990s, she reinvented the show with a focus on literature, self-improvement, mindfulness, and spirituality. In 1996, she broke new ground by starting an on-air book club that would become one of the most influential forces in publishing. When Oprah selected a book, sales would skyrocket. Authors like Toni Morrison saw their novels fly off shelves when Oprah featured them. She revolutionized reading culture in America, making books and meaningful conversation part of mainstream entertainment. Over its 25-year run, The Oprah Winfrey Show earned numerous Emmy Awards. Oprah herself won multiple Emmys for Outstanding Talk Show Host. The show became a platform for tackling difficult topics that other programs avoided. Oprah dedicated 217 episodes to discussions about sexual abuse, drawing from her own experiences as a survivor to help others find their voices. She became instrumental in the passage of the Oprah Bill in the early 1990s, legislation designed to protect children from abuse. The show addressed racism, addiction, family trauma, and countless other issues that affected millions of viewers who saw their own struggles reflected on screen. But Oprah's talents extended beyond the talk show format. While her show was finding success, she also pursued acting. In 1985, director Steven Spielberg saw her on television and thought she would be perfect for a role in his upcoming film adaptation of Alice Walker's novel, The Color Purple. Oprah's only prior acting experience had been a one-woman show about Black women's history that she performed at an African American theater festival in 1978. Despite this limited experience, she auditioned for the role of Sophia, a strong-willed woman who refuses to tolerate abuse from the men in her family. Her performance in The Color Purple was critically acclaimed and emotionally powerful. Sophia's spirit remained unbroken, despite being beaten and jailed, and Oprah brought raw authenticity to the role. The film earned her both Oscar and Golden Globe nominations for Best Supporting Actress. It was a stunning debut that proved she could act at the highest level. Her mother, Verita Lee, would later say that this performance was what made her most proud of Oprah, even more than the talk show success. Following The Color Purple, Oprah founded her own production company, Harpo Productions, in 1986, and later Harpo Films in 1990. The companies began acquiring film rights to literary works, giving Oprah control over the story she wanted to tell. In 1989, she starred in and produced a television miniseries, The Women of Brewster Place, based on Gloria Naylor's novel. The show featured an all-star cast, including Cicely Tyson, Robin Given, and others, telling the stories of 7 Black women living in a rundown apartment building during the 1960s. Each woman battled poverty, misogyny, and racism, and Oprah played Maddie Michael, a young mother trying to survive and maintain her dignity. A regular series called Brewster Place debuted on ABC in May 1990. Throughout the 90s and 2000s, Oprah continued to balance her talk show with selective acting and producing roles. In 1993, she starred as Lilijo Rivers in the TV movie There Are No Children Here, portraying a single mother trying to steer her 2 sons away from gang and drug-related violence in a Chicago housing project. In 1997, she appeared in Before Women Had Wings, playing Zora Williams, an elderly widow who befriends a young girl and helps her deal with an abusive alcoholic mother. Oprah served as both star and producer on this ABC film. One of her most ambitious acting projects came in 1998 with Beloved, director Jonathan Demme's adaptation of Toni Morrison's powerful novel. Oprah starred alongside Danny Glover and Thandie Newton in this disturbing film about the lasting trauma of slavery. Though the movie ran long and left many viewers unsettled, it was a powerful and important work that showcased Oprah's range as a dramatic actress. In 2006, she lent her voice to the family film Charlotte's Web, and in 2009, she voiced Eudora in Disney's animated feature The Princess and the Frog, bringing her talents to a new generation of viewers. In 2013, she returned to the big screen in a major way with Lee Daniels' The Butler, starring opposite Forest Whitaker. Oprah played Gloria Gaines, the wife of a White House butler who served through multiple presidential administrations. Her performance earned widespread praise and reminded audiences of her considerable acting abilities. In 2014, Oprah produced Selma, Ava DuVernay's powerful film about Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. She also appeared in the film as Annie Lee Cooper, a woman who stood up for her right to vote. The film was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. In 2017, she starred in the HBO movie The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, portraying the daughter of a woman whose cells were used without her knowledge in groundbreaking medical research. The television film earned an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Television Movie, with Oprah serving as both star and executive producer. In 2018, Oprah took on a completely different kind of role in A Wrinkle in Time, Ava DuVernay's adaptation of Madeleine L'Angle's beloved science fiction novel. She played Mrs. Witch, a wise celestial being helping children on an interplanetary journey. The film showcased her versatility and willingness to take creative risks. That same year, she received the Cecil B. DeMille Award at the Golden Globes, a lifetime achievement honor recognizing her incredible career across film and television. Beyond acting, Oprah built an extraordinary media empire. In 2011, she launched the Oprah Winfrey Network, known as OWN, creating a cable channel focused on uplifting, meaningful programming. She developed series like Queen Sugar, which ran from 2016 to 2022, Greenleaf, where she appeared as Mavis McCready in multiple episodes, and David Makes Man. She executive produced shows including Cherish the Day, The Hair Tales, and in 2023, she produced a film version of The Color Purple musical, bringing the story full circle, decades after her breakthrough performance in Spielberg's original adaptation. Her influence extended to streaming platforms as well. She partnered with Apple TV Plus for projects including The Me You Can't See, a docuseries about mental health that she co-created with Prince Harry. The series sparked important conversations about vulnerability, trauma, and healing. In 2025, she continued producing content, including AI and the Future of Us, an Oprah Winfrey special exploring technology's impact on society. Over 25 years, The Oprah Winfrey Show never missed a single episode due to Oprah's absence. She showed up every single day, demonstrating a work ethic and dedication that became legendary in the industry. She was the first woman in history to own and produce her own talk show, breaking barriers and creating opportunities for countless others who followed in her footsteps. Throughout her life, Oprah Winfrey has faced significant health challenges that she has shared openly with the public, turning her personal struggles into teachable moments for millions. Perhaps no health issue has been more public and more discussed than her decades-long battle with weight. This struggle became a defining aspect of her public image, something she both embraced and eventually worked to redefine. The most famous moment in this ongoing battle came in 1988 when Oprah appeared on her show pulling a little red wagon filled with 67 pounds of animal fat, representing the weight she had lost on a liquid diet. She wore a 10-size jeans and celebrated her transformation in front of millions of viewers. The moment became iconic, but what followed was heartbreaking. As soon as she returned to eating real food, the weight came rushing back. She later wrote that her metabolism was shot, and she didn't understand why her body seemed to fight against every effort she made to stay thin. In 1992, Oprah reached her highest weight ever, 237 pounds. She felt frustrated and defeated, noticing that no matter what she did, her body always wanted to return to a certain weight. She tried everything over the years. There were strict diets, liquid cleanses, intense exercise programs, and countless other approaches. She became a spokesperson for Weight Watchers in 2015 and even bought a 10% stake in the company, publicly tracking points and sharing her journey. But the cycle of losing weight, maintaining it briefly, then gaining it back continued to repeat itself. For decades, Oprah blamed herself. She thought she lacked willpower, that she wasn't trying hard enough, that thin people simply had more discipline and made better choices. The public scrutiny was relentless. Every fluctuation in her weight became news, every gain or loss analyzed and criticized. Even as one of the most powerful and influential women in the world, her body remained subject to constant judgment. The pressure took an emotional toll that went far beyond the physical challenges of weight management. In 2021, Oprah underwent knee surgery that changed her perspective on health and fitness. She had been becoming increasingly debilitated, struggling to walk down 2 steps to get into a car. When she finally consulted with a knee doctor and asked if it was time for surgery, he told her it was time if she wanted to continue walking. The procedure was successful, and it opened up new possibilities for movement and exercise that had become impossible with her damaged knee. But the real transformation in her relationship with weight came when she began using GLP-1 medication in 2023. This class of drugs, which include medications like Ozempic and Wegovy, works by mimicking hormones that help people feel full and slow stomach emptying. For Oprah, the medication was revolutionary. The very first time she took it, she had a profound realization. Thin people weren't constantly thinking about food. They weren't using superhuman willpower to resist potato chips or plan their next meal. The food noise that occupied her mind for decades simply wasn't there for them.
This insight changed everything. Oprah realized she had been fighting her brain all along, that obesity is a disease with biological roots, not a moral failing or lack of discipline. She openly discussed her use of weight loss medication on the Oprah podcast in January 2025, explaining that taking a GLP-1 felt like relief, like redemption, like a gift. She was absolutely done with the shaming from others, and particularly from herself. The medication, combined with hiking 3 to 5 miles a day, weight resistance training, and a healthy diet, became part of a comprehensive approach to managing her health. In 2024, Oprah experienced what happened when she stopped the medication. She ceased the injections for almost a year, maintaining healthy eating and physical activity. Yet, she gained back approximately 9 kilograms. This experience confirmed for her that the medication would need to be a lifetime thing, similar to how people with high blood pressure or diabetes manage their conditions with ongoing medication. She takes the injections weekly, sometimes going 10 or 12 days between doses, and has experienced only mild side effects, primarily some digestive issues. Oprah has been candid about other health challenges as well. She has thyroid problems that affect her metabolism and overall health management. She was also pre-diabetic at one point with high cholesterol numbers that concerned her doctors. These conditions underscored that contrary to what some people claim, being overweight was affecting her health in measurable ways. She needed medical intervention to avoid progressing to full diabetes and to manage her cardiovascular risk. In March 2024, Oprah hosted a television special called an Oprah Special: Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Revolution on ABC. The program addressed obesity as a disease and featured conversations with doctors and regular people whose lives had been transformed by GLP-1 medications. She used the platform to advocate for removing the shame and stigma around weight loss medication, arguing that people deserve access to medical tools that can help them manage a chronic condition. She left the board of Weight Watchers and donated her shares to the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture, signaling a new chapter in how she approaches weight and wellness. Loss has been a constant companion throughout Oprah Winfrey's life, shaping her understanding of grief, forgiveness, and the complex bonds of family. The first devastating loss came when she was just 14 years old. After enduring years of abuse and finding herself pregnant as a young teenager, she gave birth to a premature baby boy who died shortly after birth. Though the circumstances were tragic, Oprah would later describe this loss as a second chance at life, an opportunity to start fresh when she returned to live with her father in Nashville. Nobody at her new school knew about the pregnancy or the baby, allowing her to rebuild her life from that point forward. Her family losses continued in adulthood. In 1989, her half-brother Jeffrey Lee died. He was one of the children her mother, Vernita, had while raising Oprah in Milwaukee. Then, in 2003, her half-sister Patricia Lee Lloyd also passed away. These deaths left Oprah as one of only 2 surviving children from Vernita's 4 births. The losses affected her mother deeply, and Vernita spoke about how her Christian faith helped her endure the pain of losing 2 children. The most complicated loss came on Thanksgiving Day, November 22, 2018, when Oprah's mother, Vernita Lee, died at age 83 at her home in Milwaukee. The relationship between mother and daughter had been fraught with difficulty from the very beginning. Vernita had given birth as an unwed teenage mother, and for the first 6 years of Oprah's life, they were essentially strangers. When 6-year-old Oprah finally joined her mother in Milwaukee, she walked into that space feeling completely alone and abandoned. Vernita worked long hours as a housemaid and had little time for supervision or nurturing. She eventually had 4 children total, including one daughter she secretly gave up for adoption at birth. The period between the time Oprah had her baby at 14 until she became a television star represented 7 years during which she didn't see or hear from her mother. When Vernita showed up after Oprah became famous, Oprah struggled with what she was supposed to feel, what a daughter was supposed to feel like after such a long absence. In the days leading up to her mother's death, Oprah traveled to Wisconsin to spend time with her. After Vernita passed, Oprah thanked fans for their condolences on social media, writing that it gave the family great comfort knowing she lived a good life and was now at peace. But in private conversations and on her show, Oprah revealed the deeper truth about their relationship. When asked to speak about her mother at church after her death, specifically to think of accolades and positive memories, Oprah couldn't think of one thing. She got emotional, admitting that she didn't have one memory that filled her with warmth. What Oprah ultimately realized was that her mother did the best she knew how to do, but it wasn't enough to feed what Oprah needed. It wasn't enough to make her feel whole, valued, seen, or important. Vernita's best was simply not sufficient for what a sensitive, gifted child like Oprah required. But Oprah gave up the hope that it could have been anything other than what her mother was capable of giving. This acceptance, this letting go of expectations, became a form of peace. She acknowledged that her mother didn't abort her, that she tried in her own limited way. Oprah decided to honor her mother as the Bible instructs, offering respect even when the relationship lacked warmth.
There was one particularly painful revelation that came to light in 2010. Oprah discovered she had another half-sister named Patricia, whom Vernita had given up for adoption at birth. For 3 years, this woman tried to connect with both Oprah and Vernita, but initially Vernita wouldn't own up to having given birth to another child. The three women finally opened up about their connection on Oprah's show in 2011, with Oprah telling her mother on air that she could let the shame go, that it was time to release that burden. Despite the complicated relationship with her mother, Oprah had reconciled with her in some ways over the years. Vernita appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show in the early 1990s for a makeover segment. Oprah also made sure her mother could retire comfortably, taking care of her financially, and providing her with a home in Milwaukee where she lived out her final years. The loss that hit differently came on July 9, 2022, when Oprah's father, Vernon Winfrey, died at age 89 after a battle with cancer. Less than a week before his death, Oprah had honored him at a Vernon Winfrey appreciation and barbecue she hosted on July 4th in his backyard in Nashville. Gospel singer Wintley Pheeps saluted him with song, and Vernon felt the love, reveling in it until he could no longer speak. On Instagram, Oprah shared that she had the sacred honor of witnessing the man responsible for her life take his last breath, surrounded by family. She wrote that they could feel peace enter the room at his passing, and that peace still abided. Vernon Winfrey had saved her life. When she arrived at his home as a troubled 14-year-old, he provided the structure, discipline, and expectations that transformed her trajectory. He required weekly book reports and daily vocabulary lessons. He simply knew what he wanted and expected, and he would take nothing less. He changed the course of her life. Vernon had been a barber who owned his own shop in Nashville for nearly 50 years. He also served as a member of Metro City Council for 16 years and was a trustee for Tennessee State University. He gave Oprah roots, stability, and most importantly, belief in her own potential. His death marked the loss of the parent who truly raised her, the one who saw her gifts and refused to be wasted. As Oprah Winfrey approaches her 72nd birthday in January 2026, she stands as one of the most influential and wealthiest women in the world, with a net worth estimated at approximately $3 billion. But more importantly, she has transformed into a version of herself that she hardly recognizes, a happy woman who has found the peace with her body, her past, and her purpose. The woman who once pulled a wagon of fat on television, who blamed herself for decades of weight struggles, who carried the trauma of childhood abuse and complicated family relationships, has emerged as someone fundamentally different. Someone living what she calls her best life, with intention and gratitude. Her daily routine in 2025 reflects a commitment to wellness that goes beyond the numbers on a scale. She exercises 6 days a week, switching between hiking, cardio, and resistance training. She has completely cut out alcohol and focuses on eating whole foods, practicing mindful eating and portion control without the punishing restrictions of her past diet attempts. She continues taking her GLP-1 medication weekly, sometimes extending to 10 or 12 days between doses, and has experienced only mild side effects, primarily some digestive issues. Oprah has been candid about other health challenges as well. She has thyroid problems that affect her metabolism and overall health management. She was also pre-diabetic at one point with high cholesterol numbers that concerned her doctors. These conditions underscored that contrary to what some people claim, being overweight was affecting her health in measurable ways. She needed medical intervention to avoid progressing to full diabetes and to manage her cardiovascular risk. In March 2024, Oprah hosted a television special called An Oprah Special: Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Revolution on ABC. The program addressed obesity as a disease and featured conversations with doctors and regular people whose lives had been transformed by GLP-1 medications. She used the platform to advocate for removing the shame and stigma around weight loss medication, arguing that people deserve access to medical tools, that she serves as executive producer on numerous shows and continues to develop content that centers Black voices and stories often overlooked by mainstream media. Her partnership with Apple TV Plus has produced thought-provoking content, including docuseries on mental health and artificial intelligence. In 2025, she executive produced AI and the Future of Us, an Oprah Winfrey special exploring how technology is reshaping human connection and society. Her book club remains one of the most influential forces in publishing. Each month brings new selections that resonate with readers seeking connection and insight into diverse experiences. In 2025, she selected books including The River is Waiting by Wally Lamb and Culpability by Bruce Hollinger, novels that delve into profound human experiences and complex moral questions. When Oprah chooses a book, it still has the power to transform an author's career and spark national conversations about the themes explored in those pages. Oprah's commitment to education and philanthropy remains as strong as ever. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, which opened in 2007 with a $40 million investment, continues to empower academically gifted girls from disadvantaged backgrounds. Watching these young women graduate and go on to become leaders in their communities and beyond represents one of the greatest rewards of her life. The Academy's mission is to develop a new generation of women leaders who will transform themselves, their communities, and ultimately their country. In 2025, the Academy continues to thrive, with applications closing each March and new classes of determined young women arriving to pursue their dreams. Through the Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation, she supports organizations around the world with a specific focus on youth education, particularly for women and children. The foundation's stated mission is to lead, to educate, to uplift, to inspire, and to empower, values that have guided Oprah's work for decades. Her philanthropic reach extends to disaster relief efforts as well. After the devastating Maui wildfires in 2023, she co-founded the People's Fund of Maui with Dwayne Johnson, providing direct financial assistance to residents displaced by the fires. In January 2025, when wildfires ravaged Los Angeles, she donated tens of millions to aid recovery efforts, personally stepping in wherever she sees urgent need. Oprah has given away more than $500 million throughout her lifetime, making her one of the greatest philanthropists in American history. She donated $24 million to the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture as a founding and largest donor. During the pandemic, she contributed $20 million to fight food insecurity. Her giving is strategic and focused on areas where she believes long-term change is possible, including scholarships for underserved students, support for historically Black colleges, mentorship programs for female entrepreneurs, and partnerships with organizations promoting equality. In June 2025, Oprah is scheduled to participate in the Good Soil Forum in Dallas, joining TD Japes for a fireside chat at this premier gathering for fostering entrepreneurial success. The forum brings together visionary leaders committed to empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs, providing access to capital, resources, and connections. Her involvement reinforces the mission to equip small business owners with what they need to build lasting generational wealth. The Good Soil movement has invested nearly $1 million in small businesses over the past 2 years and aims to help 1 million entrepreneurs generate $1 million in revenue over the next decade. Oprah's annual Favorite Things list remains a cultural phenomenon. In December 2025, she featured American-made products as part of a Made in America series, shining a light on small businesses across the country. From pasta samplers to wellness products, her selections have the power to transform small businesses overnight, bringing them national attention and sales that can sustain them for years to come. Her role as a mentor and guide continues to impact people at the highest levels. In 2025, when Kelly Ripa considered stepping away from her daytime show, Oprah's advice was clear and powerful. Drawing from her own experience of ending the Oprah Winfrey Show at its peak, she told Ripa it wasn't time yet, explaining that leaving a platform should be about purpose, not fatigue. This wisdom, born from decades of experience navigating the entertainment industry, resonated far beyond their private conversation, becoming a lesson in career timing and valuing influence over quick decisions. Politically, Oprah remains engaged and influential. On August 21, 2024, she endorsed Kamala Harris in the United States presidential election at the Democratic National Convention, lending her considerable influence to the campaign. Her political endorsements carry significant weight. Back in 2008, her support for Barack Obama was credited with delivering approximately 1 million votes during the Democratic primaries, demonstrating her unique ability to move public opinion and inspire political engagement. The Oprah podcast continues to provide a platform for deep conversations about topics that matter. In January 2025, she discussed her weight loss medication experience in detail, explaining how GLP-1 drugs changed her understanding of obesity and thin privilege. She opened up about her journey with remarkable honesty, sharing insights about food noise, the disease model of obesity, and why she believes the medication will be a lifetime commitment for her. These conversations spark national discussions and help reduce stigma around topics people often suffer with in silence. Oprah's relationship with her partner, Stephen Graham, remains strong and unconventional. They've been together for decades without marrying, having found a partnership that works for them outside traditional structures. She has chosen not to have children of her own, a decision she has spoken openly about. She once says she didn't want babies and wouldn't have been a good mom for babies because she lacks the patience. Instead, she has channeled her nurturing instincts into mentorship, education, and empowering young people through various initiatives. The girls at her Leadership Academy and the countless people she has supported through scholarships and programs become her legacy in ways that matter deeply to her. At 71, approaching 72, Oprah speaks about time differently than she once did. On her appearance on The Today Show in August 2024, celebrating Al Roker's 70th birthday, she made candid remarks about reaching this milestone. There is a sense of knowing that there isn't as much time left, and she's at peace with that knowing. There is a sense of urgency for her about living well, about making the most of whatever time remains. This awareness doesn't make her fearful, but rather more intentional about how she spends her days and where she directs her considerable energy and resources. Living well for Oprah means continuing to create meaningful content, supporting causes she believes in, maintaining her health through consistent exercise and medical care, nurturing important relationships, and using her platform to elevate voices and stories that might otherwise go unheard. Her splitting her time between her homes in Montecito, California, and other properties, often hosting intimate gatherings with people she calls her honorary daughters and extended chosen family. In 2025, Oprah Winfrey remains a cultural icon whose influence extends across media, business, philanthropy, and social change. She continues to produce films and television shows through her production companies. She maintains her business investments, including stakes in Weight Watchers and various wellness brands. She speaks at global events, appears on television specials, and manages her vast media holdings with the same attention to detail that made her talk show legendary. But perhaps most importantly, she has achieved something that eluded her for most of her life: genuine acceptance of herself. The woman who spent decades feeling not enough, who battled shame about her weight and her past, who struggled with a complicated relationship with her mother, has found peace. She has learned that health is a journey, not a destination, that progress matters more than perfection, and that she deserves the same compassion and grace she has always extended to others. Oprah Winfrey's story is far from over. As she continues into her 8th decade, she remains committed to living purposefully, giving generously, and inspiring millions around the world who see in her journey a reflection of their own struggles and possibilities. From that farm in Mississippi where a little girl recited Bible verses to churches, to the global stage where she influences culture and politics, Oprah has traveled an extraordinary distance, and she is not done yet.